inch, not a foot, not a centimeter. We not go give up to Guatemala because look what them do to the people of my color. If them speak too loud, sure to get murder. Look what them do to the Indian Maya. Holy by them massacre. La mismo presidente quiere we agua because this is the we with a fear. Nobody give it to no Guatemala. Oh no, this is the we with a fear. Nobody give it to no Guatemala. Believe if you need a soldier, just send for the Cooper, cause I'm a true warrior. Just send for Daddy Tracy and Rankin Jr. Just send for Bernie Mac and Kenny M. my brother. Send for Andy B, send for the Mad Rocker. Just second stone jam, you are the commander. Because this is the we with a fear. Nobody give it to no Guatemala. This is the we with a fear. Nobody give it to no Guatemala. So listen to the lyrics where Papa a chat. Some people only see ya, some people harder than that.
Good morning. This morning is Abla Ellen Sue Joseph. Good morning, Abla.
Greetings.
And our guest, Big Show. Every show a big show, but this is a big show. When you wait, I say right now in a big show, I try to stay calm. I want to know I won't have a hard time being calm today, but I had work for myself. So this morning's show, we're going to be talking about the reopening of the Philip Goldson International Airport on August 15th. As you know, we have one scheduled protest, July 15th, Wednesday, Battlefield Park from 11 a.m. to 1, saying no open the PGIA August 15, 2020. So since the other conversation, there's no way we can have this conversation and now bringing Belizeans in the diaspora, the United States specifically, because they got the most cases, confirmed cases of COVID-19, confirmed cases, and people were dead. So our first guest, that for one of the states they will have, where they go up high in their cases here. We have Sister Aria Lightfoot from Central Florida. Good morning, Aria.
Hi, morning, yeah. Thanks for the invite.
No problem. And then you know that a big show when the Bronx come out. Cheryl Godfrey Bronx and the Bronx. Had they not come out 20 something years they in the promotion business. They only come out last month because or June because both of them and other family members were living with COVID-19. And then Grant Moore's interview, me asked them a coin, I never walk up on my show and I'm on my show. But me humble myself, Karen Moore's are good peoples and they're invested in a Belizeans. I want to know that for their lifestyle. So the fact that after 20 something years, then come out, you know it's serious. And then they come out again, so you know this must mean something to that. Welcome the Bronx, Cheryl, Godfrey Bronx, and Buddy Bronx. Welcome, peoples.
Thanks for having us.
Welcome.
That was absolute joy for having you with us this morning. But usually check in. So we can check in on the air. How are you being this morning, Aria?
I am good. I mean, I'm home right now, but my anxiety is very high with this COVID-19. I won't lie to you about that. It's a serious matter here in Florida. Yesterday when I went out was the first time I have seen everyone wearing a mask because now it's mandatory.
Okay. You made a very valid point, Aria. The fact that a number of people, the anxiety to increase, and some people are diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. So a lot of things people live with, people are under a lot of pressure and stress right now. Right. Cheryl and Buddy, how do you feel this morning? I know Buddy is on recovery still yet after that COVID-19 knock on down.
We're pretty good right now. I mean, compare from 799 deaths a day, we're down to 7, and it's mentally was a strain, and New Yorkers in a whole, this thing really take you down mentally and physically. So we come a long way, and we still not finished. We got to prepare ourselves for a comeback or a return, to a higher extent of this COVID coming back in September. So we're not done.
And one thing I said, New Yorkers are very strong. So if Belize not strong and ready, probably.
That's why we have this conversation right now. Yes, Abla, how you feel this morning?
All is well, hydrated and good.
So, make I ask you, how uno say, I don't say uno good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And uno check in with uno family, uno find that people say that they're good because I don't know how uno so good in such a stressful time. I had to manage. I did go along. I make one conscious effort for take some deep breaths and remind myself about the things where I have, such as family and friends. I have food. I have adequate housing. Cause I stay in my sister house. If I'm in my own house, and I have adequate housing. So I look for the things that were positive, where I don't have to buy, where the really tangible things where I hold it on. But for the majority of people that Belize, for example, and our as area and the Bronx, the same thing. Well, a lot of we people may have hard life before COVID-19 pandemic. And when I say hard life, I mean people not employed, the money where people make, they're not enough money for take care of them and their family adequately. You have people that live with diseases or illnesses where then they struggle with, they don't have money for them, go to a doctor, get them medication. You have elders, you have people with diverse ability. People that struggle. Plus this. So what are the vibes of people where you know wrong you area and the Bronx? What are people vibration? You feel like people just to put on their best face, then they feel the lick now after all them. Once what are people vibes, especially Belizean people want to know that states.
Well, for the Belizeans here, and I guess we are not as a connected community as New Yorkers. In other words, we don't live amongst each other like a lot of New Yorkers. But from the Belizean Association point of view, we had to cancel all our events this year because of the rising cases, and they don't know when it's going to end. We did do some donation stuff to Belize to help with the food crisis some families are facing. Um, I think a lot of people in Florida, for the time being, are okay when it comes to food and housing for the simple reason that if they are facing any foreclosures or anything, they've put a moratorium on all those. So they can't foreclose on anybody. They can't, and the government, for example, many people benefited from that stimulus check and unemployment. The federal government gave an extra um, $1,200 a month on top of the state unemployment. So I think until that changes, I think people are okay food wise and housing wise. But that might change. Right now, the federal government is also paying employees to keep people on the payroll so that there's not mass layoffs. So for the time being, but that could change. I mean, that could change. You know, we're in an election year. Government is willing to do stuff right now. But on that level, I think we're okay. Sickness wise, I haven't heard about many Belizeans getting sick here in Florida.
Respect. Cheryl and Buddy, what are the vibes from Belizean people want to check in with the New York?
Well, I think in New York, like what Ari said, everything good with the government and thing because I think some people better off now than before when they made work. You know, they make more money now than when they made work. I then get an extra, I think like what, 600 or. I said, right now I made work. I said, I got retired too early. But, you know, but the government handling people. So that's one thing I could say about America. I mean, nothing I don't like about it and thing, but when it comes to the people and handling people, you know.
Respect. And how, when I talk to Belizean people, what are the vibration and they get from there?
A lot of Belizean people had gotten COVID. The mild cases and recovering, and some did like some died, and some had like what Buddy had. So they communicate with Buddy and tell him totally understand what Buddy went through. You know, because of we came forward. A lot of them started to come forward because it was a very top secret kind of thing that nobody wanted to talk about. It was a hush hush. So when I came forward, I struggled with coming forward because I'm not this type of person, but I felt the need to make awareness of it because I didn't know what I was going through here. I was going crazy myself dealing with it. It's something new for all of us. And I said, let me share my experience as people know what to expect with this COVID, and I got a lot of feedback, positive feedback, which I'm just glad I did it.
Respect. I ask you one more question and then I'll pass the mic to my co-host, Abla. Aria, why it matter to you that the government said they want to reopen the Philip Wilson International Airport, August 15, 2020. Why that matter to you?
Well, for example, a lot of what Buddy and Sherlyn went through, we want to start experiencing our next couple months or couple weeks. Dr. Parse, he already said that the deaths follow the spikes. So we are starting to hear more about Belizeans getting sick, especially in the South Florida area, because 1 in every 4 persons being tested right now are are being positive. That's 1 in 4 in Miami area.
Wait,
So
wait, Aria. Make we get a sense of what to say. So, Sherilyn, Body, Aria, and Abla, the 4 people.
right,
And you just say, in Miami right now, it then takes 1, 2, 3, 4 people, 1 out of every 4 of them test positive.
yes, right. So that's the rate right now in that part of Florida. They have the most cases. In Arizona, it's actually 1 in every 3. And the problem is that the government, some government officials were initially saying, oh, it was due because of increased testing. But when the doctors talked, they said it's not due to increased testing. It's the rates that are spiking because they open. Florida has the same economy. Well, Florida has a similar economy like Belize. We have beaches, we depend on tourism, and so a lot of businesses push for Florida to be open quickly. So we were starting to flatten out the curve, and they opened up everything, and all those young people just ran out to the beaches and they ran out to parties and restaurants, and the cases just spiked. So now, today in Florida, Florida had 15,000 new cases today. That's just for today. And that when you think about if they're testing, uh, let me just rewind. What they're saying that from the day that you get sick or get infected to the first day that you test positive, it takes 4 days for it to show up on your test. Now, Belize has a policy that I heard that if you bring in a test that's 3 days old, you'll be able to be walking throughout Belize.
Hmm.
Your test could not work because what if you get sick on the day of your arrival or the day before? Your 3-day test won't mean anything.
Wait,
And
Aria. Wait, Aria. I want to say that again. Some Belizean people could hear you and understand. We intention enough to create alarm that for really make people understand what that is real because it's a part of the issue. The government of Belize not they said their thing to we and we that the Belizean people. So say that again so we could understand your Aria.
so they're saying, the doctors here are saying that from the day you get infected to the day you test positive, it takes 4 days for it to show up on a test. Belize government is saying that if you come with a test that's 3 days old, you're good to go wherever you're going to go. The problem is, what if you get infected the day before you show up in Belize, or the day that you show up in Belize, and you have a 3-day test that says you're negative? That test doesn't mean anything. That person could have gotten sick on the plane because right now the federal government is now examining the plane's policy that people do not even have to report that they're positive to jump on a plane. So you could have gotten a test, you know that you're positive. You could jump on a plane, fly with a whole plane full of people, and in a plane it's circulating air. Everybody's breathing the same air. So even if you have a mask on, you're still breathing the same air. That person sneezes on a plane, goes to the bathroom, everybody's using the same bathroom on a plane, the possibility of spread increases. Also, the 15% of America generally are testing positive. So for every plane that comes in with 100 people, you should expect at least 15 of them, if they're Americans, to be sick or possibility of being sick. That's a serious number because the next thing we have to look at, what is our medical capacity? How many people can we accommodate that are critically ill? Because that's really what it is. What's happening in America, it's the fact that the hospitals cannot accommodate the level of sickness that's going on. And right now, Has anybody seen those extra ventilators that they've spoken about? We haven't seen it. As far as I heard, there's only 10 ventilators in Belize. So, and when somebody goes on a ventilator, they are on a ventilator for weeks. So the capacity of Belize is to deal with 10 critical cases, or you just die, or you hope that you'll recover if it's a serious case. And of everybody who will get sick critically, they said 14% of everybody who gets COVID-19 become critically ill, which is a high number. So
Respect. Lot of information, good information that we all we could use. The Bronx, Sherilyn and Buddy. Why it matter to Uno that the
Well,
government said they want to reopen the Philip Goss International Airport August 15, 2020? What it matter to Uno? I'm making a contact to you this morning.
well, yo, I really say my mouth full just now because all right, me I tell them so, but we had a one really add on it. You might want to believe and not have it, but you don't know where your luggage gone through, how much people handle your luggage. You understand?
Are
And
they
they claim,
disinfecting the luggage? Are they going to disinfect it in Belize?
they claim that the virus could live in a luggage, in a clothes and stuff for so many hours. Miami, that only like 1 hour and 15 minutes, I believe. You know? So with all the handlers in the airport, we have your luggage and might could be get infected. You know?
They really got to sit down and reconsider this
So
this
really
plan.
you know, they really have, my thing is, like I said, if Belize said they are open, I mean, all right, you have to be prepared for the consequences. And I don't know if they're ready on the real, you know?
Respect. Abla?
What's the exact fear in the reopening of the airport? What the exact fear?
my fear is, okay,
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I have family in Belize still. And my fear is that Belizeans, from what I'm seeing, well, a lot of people think that this wave has passed Belize. Similar like Florida, we may think that this thing done. Now Florida is becoming the epicenter of the world, not the United States, of the world right now. So the thing is, most of their flights they come in from Florida, Texas, California, all
Houston.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
That are all the hotspots. So now you have tourists, and I tell you this, Chester Cargo chase down no tourists, and the way they do to Belizean, he cannot do that because the U.S. Embassy will call him the next day, and they might end up with one lawsuit on his hand. Right now, they sue one of their island because they will have all their measures that they claim are invading for their civil rights. You deal with one different set of mindset, people, and people where they spend money. And you know when money they spend, we have one tendency enough. We don't know for tell people with money no. You know, if there's somebody had somebody $500, hey man, just carry me in at the Lee village somewhere. But who are telling no if you broke and want make $500? Who are telling no? That's the culture that we're in. So you have to consider your culture where you're in. You have to consider your medical system, and you have to consider who you're inviting to the country. No problem, but the what want be your control factors that want be one biggie for us.
That's the one now the main concern why New York was under such control with this virus because we went on a strict lockdown. Our governor did not play with New York. Like mask was a must, and Republican countries like Houston and Florida and different states did not want to listen.
Yep.
And this is why they're getting a backlash right now. And these people have that mentality that they will not wear a mask. Is a mask going to be mandatory when they come off that plane in Belize? Many of them
Yes.
fight against it. They have to make sure
So
they
that,
have a mask coming off that plane. And not
so then the
only that,
next
you have
question
a lot
will
of
be,
asymptomatic tourists that are going to be on that plane. Another big question right there. You know, you got to be careful. This is where the virus breed on cold air. It feeds off cold air. This plane is freezing cold coming into Belize. That virus is building up in there. So you have to be careful in what you're inviting in.
we also have to be careful of our understanding of what viruses are, right? Because a virus is not like a bacteria that infects it colonize and grow. A virus, when you have a reaction to a virus, it's not that virus that causes a reaction. It's your body that is reacting to the foreign entity. So
Mm-hmm.
it's different. So you have to be careful in how we share information, because a virus, the only the trick about this is that they're using COVID, right? So when they explain a death from COVID, they're changing their mannerism and how they are reporting, because it's similar to HIV. You won't get on your death certificate HIV. It will give the
Yeah.
underlying issue. So a lot of the deaths that are being reported, it's not because it's not that they put that due to COVID, but it's underlying issues. So I believe us as Belizeans, we had the little space before the government is saying no, we'll open up, to actually practice and boost up our immune system, because everything when it comes to viruses is a immune response, right? So now the second question is no, if yes, if we won't be able to just say not do something. We have to come with what then? What if? What will we do then if we can't do this? What then? And the question will be, what parameters will we be able to say yes to in response to the opening of the airport? Because the airport cannot remain permanently closed or wait for the perfect time to open, because there's no perfect time to open. So then what are we offering? What are we offering to this situation
Well,
besides
my
just
thing is, all right. Belize had the airport open when Penny Hub, which is Florida, Houston,
Houston.
and all them place, never like this. So why you are open now? What sense that can make? So now, why you closed then?
Well, here's my thing, right? You're saying that Belizeans had time for build up their immune system, but where is the evidence that they actually did? In other words, you're
that's
saying that
uh-huh.
we had time for lockdown, but Belize was under a very controlled lockdown. We all and the airports and cruises wasn't closed by Belize; it was closed by the United States. So that hurt Belize one. The second thing is that Chestamine they arrest people and charge them $5,000 for face masks. So what you expect, of course, that a highly controlled environment. However, when you open that airport, several things. Do we anticipate that the flights and will just full up of tourists, and then you are just ship them off to one hotel, and then will just sit down in a hotel and not explore the island? What kind of tourism that? That don't even want viable tourism to come to Belize. If I want to sit down in a hotel, I could come to Florida and sit down in a five-star resort where I don't have to leave the hotel. For we type of tourism is about going to visit Maya temples. For we type of tourism is about engaging within the culture. They go do zip lining and for go see all the beautiful parts of Belize and the culture capital and the reefs and everything. That's our tourism. For we tourism that not for go sit down in our hotel. That the Walt Disney World system. That the will go. You sit down
Make
now
believe.
all day and they have all kind of beautiful things going on where you don't have to live. So consider one the type of tourism you have. Number two, you might open up your airport for a few people that decide to take advantage of it, but then you're also opening it up to the whole virus spread. And the reality is that Belizeans, as a culture, we are not healthy people. We eat a lot of carbs as we diet, and while diabetes is a very high incidence, heart disease, cancer, those are very high disease
Risk.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, where's the proof that we actually may improve with system? And what the for we diabetes rate, I believe, what the we heart disease rate, what is our cancer rate? Because if we willing for all our people dead with that virus, when they host the virus, that's some of the considerations. And then when tourists come, they have to go to the bank, they have to go to the ATM. So what is the plan? Is what is what is the seriousness of the plan? Once community spread starts, it don't even matter if the airport open anymore, because once it hits in the community, then you start. The problem is right now, I'll give you a perfect example, and this is just my uh, um, perspective. A lot of them police officers, they deal with border jumpers that are testing positive. All of them might be negative, right? All of them might be asymptomatic. Every single one of them, but when they go visit their granny or when they go visit, they might have a son that Belize is not doing post-mortem testing. So you don't even know if people were dead suddenly, if they're dying really from the disease when they got, or if they were a host to the virus. Look, Pa Vidal, do we know if he had a stroke? He was laboring in his breathing. I don't know if you've ever seen stroke people. They start to get confused when they talk. He was
Correct.
so
He displayed all the signs. Yes, but the question, the reason, the rationale for the question is to evoke that this conversation, because we don't just want to be one-sided to say,
right.
oh no, and then because we have to show people that we are not only here to say yes or no, but we have to have the full conversation, right? And I was that was to lead up to the same thing. We don't know. We don't have any data to show from either side. And now my thing also is that we have the false sense of security with the airport being closed, because we have a greater risk at the moment from the porous borders. So they know what with that. And that is the reason why I say that it is a personal responsibility to take care of yourself. And we have the fear of the airport opening rather than working on rather than having the ads and the infomercials to tell people, hey, we can't let down with God just because the airport not open. And I think that when you say the airport are open, that kind of boosts people to actually start, they get back to their best practices when it comes to the hygiene and doing everything, because basically some of the stuff what we do is counterproductive, right? But we can't just come and say no, open it. We have to have what we need, because if the government is saying we do this for economic reasons, we have to have the solution to build the economy without the PGIA being open. So what will it bring besides just saying don't open? So what will it bring? What will I do? You mic the off, yeah, yeah.
Well, this I want to open up. This I want, for me. This I open up to Belize, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you can't say that your whole economy based on tourists.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. You understand?
Correct.
Something got to
They have to
change.
be more self-sufficient. Free up the land there, make the people plant their food. Make we start to. Where like really hurt me, or where really tick me off, like when I hear so much. No, cause now that Belize, it's a million, that billion, 1 point, this billion, that point, that billion, and they don't have nothing to show rather than some roundabout or whatever.
That's
No kind of thing where we could say, well, this stuff from Belize, but make we just start with one. This one we are import this we are investing at this stuff from Belize. Make we make some money off of that. Nothing at all whatsoever. And I left Belize and I Konya at the same thing.
so what we would do. You mic the off, yeah, yeah.
Not laughing.
I'm trying to unmute it.
No, you're back up. You're back on.
Okay, thanks. Okay, we need to go to break. As one of the organizers, and there are three of us, it's myself and two youth organizers in Zinga Foreman and Makeda Marin. And we have consistently said whenever we hit the airwaves, and I will again this morning, that we have three requests. And that's the responsibility of organizers. That was said, offer more space for the Belizean people, said this is a concern, and these are the alternatives. And these are, it's not as if there has not been any alternative, because people call in talk shows, people write, people are talking about alternatives to it being reopened on that day. So I just share that information to be objective in this particular concern. We'll go in a break, and then I'll come back.
Okay.
Present Belize and proud of it, sir. Don't tell me about maritime area. Long time ago, agreement by the slave master. Talking about the help on the Belizean
segment of Sunday Review. Jada, we operator the text long time and say we're back and we are so we act like we there for you one time. Apologies for that, listeners, viewers, those streaming online. Remember, people where you could download the Krem Radio app that is offered by BH and I. With the Krem Radio app, you could listen to Sunday Review. Because we're using Skype, we can't live stream the Krem Facebook page anymore. Sister Sandra Coy will call in soon because I'm the call and give me some good information. I tell her, Sister Sandra, better you call in. And so we can expect her call at any time. If you just tune in, we're talking about the reopening of the PGIA on August 15, 2020. From the United States, the Belizean diaspora, we have Ariel Lightfoot from Central Florida. And we have Cheryl Godfrey Brown and Buddy Brown from New York. Before we go on a break, Abla make the point, and a valid point, about, I could tell you for sure, as an organizer of the upcoming protest on July 15th from 11 to 1, the Battlefield Park, Belize City, and if protest name not open the PGIA August 15, 2020. So you know, I don't want to open it. But it's not just about saying don't open it, because the truth is it has to be open at some point. And the truth is that we want to live with COVID-19 for a very long time. So the first ask is not open it August 15, 2020, or the first ask, or the first request. The second one is to have meaningful consultations with Belizean people and listen to Belizean people's concerns. So before you make one decision, consult with Belizean people. And I don't mean a typical, you contact your party politics people and you contact some of your councils that were said and represent people, and the people that don't even know who them people that represent in council. I mean, have serious, identify credible community organizers, find, you don't want to census, find people, if you don't have to go street by street, like on the phone, party politics have street captain, to get people input, find out people concerns. And then after that, I want to create a mechanism like maybe one app, one COVID-19 app, like have one health app for them people who to come in. Even though we're not set the health app yet, we're not set the big hotels there yet, we have to have full package, and only there the tourists then could book with when they come in. A little bit over a month away, and we don't said none of anything yet. We don't know what that the testing capacity. We don't know if there's no independent oversight for them things. So they're not valid concerns. So the second thing is meaningful consultation with Belizean people. And then you follow through with what come out of them meaningful consultations with Belizean people. There needs to be at all times a simultaneous education process. So Belizean people know what's happening in real time, and if things change on the ground. And then there need to be an independent group of people who to make sure to do what the son want to do. Because this is not a time for, oh man, we never anticipate this to happen. And the Belizean people, impoverished people who want to pay the cost of this. That are the biggest concern. I want to very clear, I want to tell we, money over people. Straight up. The man, I don't call him my name because I just don't want my name pass through my mouth. But he said in our interview that for his son open a big airport, not airport, one big resort that's San Pedro. And he talk about 30 to 50 million US dollars at one place. Tropic Air owner, they make no plane, can open the airport because I said that ain't big money people push for the airport open. But that we, the everyday people on the ground, want pay for it for we life. Now, when I say we, the everyday people on the ground, we don't say it already. That when the plane door open, that who push that stairs to the plane door, that who meet them people when they come off, that who want to take their temperature, people with the luggage, taxi drivers, that who to drive them van for them big airport. And then people related to we certainly come in for we host, and don't forget that they want open school 5 days before that. Who get on water taxi? People live that key, we don't have to get on water taxi too. So that a big resource, and I want to read it out because ask that who are the people for making it be very clear that a big money people and disclosure. We know the Prime Minister own a big resort at Placencia, right? So just for giving a clue like that a big pocket people and sit and tell you they make no plane, who are the people where I could? Then call it, this is what they call it. You have to meet the tourism goal standard in order for host there, right? Now they not identify the hotels there yet because I gone we call a place up anything you go now a hotel you like the hotel you give them one good rating. It start with an T.
Or travel, travel.
Travel
Travel,
advisory.
travel advisor. I check travel advisor, right? Because I did check to say the way hotel the people in the book. And when I check travel advisor, Belize not identify the big hotels then yet. So I say, so how people the book for Koya and they don't even book the hotel yet? Well, they can't book the hotel because the only one certain group of hotel want get the tourism gold standard approval. They don't even identify the hotel then yet. So they make you know for your okay. Sister Sandra de Carly. Greetings, Sister Sandra. Good morning.
Your voice gone.
The mic they off yet. The mic they off, yeah. I think you have to just do it with the speaker.
Okay, try Sandra. You hear her now?
Yes, we can hear.
Yes, go ahead, Sister Sandra. You're on the air.
The point that I wanted to make is that it's not that people are saying that we don't want to revive the economy. In this country, you have to guarantee that you can bring them in safely, that we will be safe from them. They will be safe from us to the extent that we have kept ourselves safe. But with the current situation in our and get situation under control, then you might as well forget it. But forget cortisol and our job. When the people come off the plane, remember originally the International Air Transport Association, IATA, was requiring that you be tested upon boarding the plane because they wanted a sterile environment on the plane. But that no longer is applying because the planes are not going to allow social, they are not going to follow any social distancing rules. I don't even know about masking if they will be obliging their passengers to but definitely social distancing will not apply. When the plane lands in Belize, if you are a Belizean coming back to Belize, you will apply the PCR test, which will test for the for infection. But if you're a tourist and you come in without the test, if you're a Belizean and you come in without the test, you will get the PCR test, which when it's processed will be the Taiwanese processing method that requires only 85 minutes.
1 second, Sister Sandra. Can you mute your mics, please? I'm getting a feedback. I'm not sure from where. So if you all could mute your mics for me, please, until when you speak, then you turn your mics back on, guests and co-hosts. Go ahead, Sister Sandra.
Yeah.
When if you're a Belizean coming into the country, you will get, and you don't bring a result from the United States, you will enter Belize and have to take a PCR test, which will then be processed utilizing the Taiwanese platform, which will only require 85 minutes to get the results. That's a rapid result PCR test. If you're a foreigner coming into Belize and you do not bring a test from the United States or anywhere else you're coming from, you will be administered the antigen antibody test. And if I understood them, they will administer it in 2 layers. But you're not going to be testing the same thing, you know. The first one will be testing to see if you're infected. The second one will be testing to see if you have been infected before and your body builds up a response to it. It's completely different. Now, currently, when you come into Belize, these regulated trips they've been having from the United States, when you come in, you enter quarantine no matter your condition. So by entering quarantine, if you were not infected, you will not be able to hold any of the viruses that came in off with the plane on the plane with you. You give the virus a chance to be eliminated. But if you come in infected, you have those 14 days for the virus to go through its process and for you to emerge at the other end having cleared the infection process. But now there will be no quarantining, no obligatory quarantine of everybody off the plane. You will only be quarantined if you test positive. That's not the current rule. So and then remember that in the United States, as we speak, it's a problem to get a test. They are taking up to, in Arizona, people have been waiting in line up to 12 hours to get the test. And then to get the results, some people are up to 28 days. So how can you ask for a 3-day turnaround time between being tested and getting the result and arrive? So many of them will be arriving in Belize with no test. And it's in Belize that this alternative testing will be administered. So I don't know if you all can see, Miss Ellen, you can see that that is where the great uncertainty begins. They don't have a handle, in my opinion, will not have a handle on the management of the entry of people into the airport, into Belize from the airport. But I don't know if you all cannot see that. And then Yaya might want to discuss this now in connection with schools opening. Because remember, we have an outbreak in Orange Walk in the north as we speak. As we speak, there's an outbreak in the north. And they are trying to tell us that that outbreak in the north is under control because they did contact tracing. But you know, every day, Yaya and Buddy and Sharon and everybody else, every day people migrate to Belize from Orange Walk and Corazon to sell tamales, locuno, vegetables, food every single day. And they migrate to come and work in different companies in this city, employ people, the busloads coming every day. So if you have the beginning of an outbreak in Orange Walk, 7 of them are now in quarantine. How do you know there are not other infected people there in Orange Walk, in the north? So the north needs to be dealt with, in my opinion. It's an urgency to deal with that if you're going to open up on the 15th of August. Don't you all agree?
I agree, Sister Sandra. We could continue on talk since you give a lot of things for talk about and things going on. Thanks. Yes, so a lot of things for things going on talk about. Before Sister Sandra call, I'm going to share that what our asks were when we just say no open the airport. We're saying no open it. We don't open it on that date. Now with everything what Sister Sandra just added, what we are continue to talk about, the valid concerns why. Now we have some people on the record positions. So I know the Belize BPP, I forget what BPP stands for. Mine just got blank just now. And I know the Belize Business Bureau has sent an email or a letter to the Prime Minister asking for them to open it. They have another date. I'm hoping that other organizations, political parties, trade unions, churches, NGOs will put out a position on what their members or leadership thoughts are on opening the PGIA on August 15th. So we can hear from Aria and the Bronx. We had we never talked for a little while, only the guests. Based on all the other thing we want to just hear, anything come to put on your mind about additional concerns about opening the PGIA on August 15th?
I think because you guys wanted to know what alternatives were. I think that for one of the asks should be for real data. I think one of the real data you should want to know is what percentage of your entire population has been already infected to know what your risk level is. For example, why don't they start randomly testing people for the antibody test? Because maybe did it wrong already in Belize and we were able to survive it. That's a possibility, but we don't even know. We don't know what our risk factors are. So give it data. Start collecting data to know what your risk factors are too. But why don't they do a staggered opening of the airport? In other words, instead of kind of carte blanche type, with us to open up and you could come from anywhere, why don't you either force the resorts to have packages, and those packages, 30 people or 50 people can register for those packages, and they have to come with that already in place so that you could have them in a controlled environment before you start to open it up to anybody. And then you continue with the bringing in the Belizeans that need to come home, doing the 2 weeks quarantine, because let's face it, if America, they have issues and they normally are very rule and government oriented, and you have Italy and all those first world countries, they have issues of control. We know we Belize, we know we Belize, we know this idea of control power governmental level is going to be very hard to do. So we need to understand what our weaknesses are. We need to understand what our risk level is, and we need to kind of create a staggered control into a full opening. Right now, we're not there, and until we have that, I think we should hold off on August 15th.
But for this data or the statistics, we can't depend on the same system to get this information from, because how we get this data now?
I think that, I'll be honest with you, I think that the medical system in Belize still have a level of integrity. I know that we're going to want an electrician to run it, but the actual guy the actual guy whether they in charge of it, the one actual doctor, and I think Dr. Manzanera have a good reputation, and I think they have other doctors I've seen online that have given their own opinions around it. So I think that from a medical perspective, they can come together and create that data set for Belize. I think that that's still a credible source. Um, Now, I understand the politics level, whether or not they would want information to be public information. That is where the concern would be.
That is always where the concern is.
I turn off my camera card, the sweat button, you can hear me, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
there's a list, you have to have gold standard approved hotels. That's one of the criteria for the tourists who they come. And the gold standard hotels, I want to hear so I understand that who are the people where one could the hotels that one could participate or benefit from the tourists coming in. They have to provide the hotel lane where the tourists then could go. They have to have full service. That means all the hotel must provide all amenities for the guests on the property and minimize opportunities for guest interaction with the local community. The amenities must include transportation to offer pickup and drop-off services from the airport, access to a restaurant on the property, have a pool or access to beachfront, and to be able to provide isolated tours limited to guests of the property only. So I don't know, say, the majority of the hotels in I believe not meet that criteria. They are the big pocket people in hotel lane. So you see who the benefit from there, and then do have 5 phases area. Yes, but the way they say?
No, I say exactly, I agree with you.
But this virus don't have no limit to nobody either, you understand?
Indeed, once you come in at the country,
you don't have no, you're subject to everybody, money or not.
And then this are my problem that I have with the whole thing is, right? I know like say you open, but my thing is that when you open, or who make it open? Because I think it's supposed to be, we Belizeans supposed to make that decision there. You understand? For instance, like when you hear they want to big up themselves or then close the airport and they don't close nothing. You understand? Then that the America stop come. Now, same thing now with the opening. The Prime Minister come and say, okay, we are open the 15th of August. But American Airlines sell ticket for 2 months before. You understand? So you make I think that
Who in
that
control?
who in control of this thing
Mm.
now? How they have put the sell ticket 2 months ago when the Prime Minister just announced to the Belizean people when the real
Airport.
thing will open. You make you have to think.
You
And
know, we
then the
have a
same thing with the cruise ships. That never because the cruise ships, you notice, police say, uno come. The foreign people say, we not come.
another call.
Make the
Exactly.
they're not because, make it be clear now. Sorry to say, we have two examples. A leadership made decisions when it comes to opening up for we borders for international people coming. First time in the cruise ship, they said, no, man, loading. And the cruise ship said, no, come. They remember them in one airport open up earlier. Remember them set one date for the airport. And then
Correct.
so that don't
July
show we got
1st.
two examples of them not making good decisions when it comes to opening up the border. So not like we just the pick funny because they have examples of not making decisions when it comes to open up the border. Go through and say we want to say Abla before we go to the
I
next
said
week.
because we have vision at economic class, right? So we have, even though we have the voices of both sides, we only have one voice being heard or one voice being followed up and invested in. So now the question is, what we are willing to do if the date the creep closer and closer to the 15th and the government decide we know the budge, we know the listen, we already listen to that one voice. So what we were willing to do then, because when Miss Sandra come up with, because when I first heard airport they reopen and then school they open before, my first thing was, I don't think school's supposed to open before airport. I think if airport are open, make airport open, make we see how this thing will flow, what will happen, and then we what could. Because people will say, yes, children, but we still have to worry about it, because if a child out there to interact, that child still have to come home to everybody. So what we willing to do if the date they come closer and closer and we don't get no press conference to say this will be the change and that will be the change.
Well, I hope that hundreds of people will come out when
Yeah,
the
yeah,
thousands
yeah,
will
yeah,
come out.
yeah, yeah. Please, please make people answer for me.
Beg a man! Beg a man!
I'm expecting I have to do this rally before the 15th. You know, put pressure like life matters. Right through till the 15th.
Not on the 15th. Before
Right,
the
you have
15th
to
to
be
start.
what sustain. You have to
Sustain thing.
hold
People will get the
Make I
courage
tell
to
you
come out
something.
more, you know?
Make I tell you something. Make I get something very clear. This is the first time I organize one protest this side. And it take money. Yeah, I got $0. You know what I tell you? It really it
Ariel,
take money to do anything.
Ariel, handle that part.
No. And two, you don't have to understand that people not just come out. Well, a lot of times when I see numbers in the streets around the world are because there's been people attached to an organization. There's been a consciousness raising. They're not just for people come for sake. You want people really understand why they're out there, what are the risk, what else they're willing to do. I have one, I know I share at the time, and it's not confirmed it, but there is a plan B if the government not responds. The reason why we picked the 15th of say we got a whole month. We no cancel and never get enough time. So I hope that we are seeing what happen Wednesday with people coming out, and then based on that, because I really the people should be driving this. They're not, we just Makeda and Nzinga, we just create the space that the people that drive this.
Well, my suggestion, two things we have to consider, right?
Mm-hmm.
The tourist industry is foreign owned, owned by Belizean. Yes, we know we have Belizeans who own some hotels, but it's a foreign owned industry. It's the same thing with Jamaica and a lot of the Caribbean. Belizeans don't own the industries. And the foreign owned industries, they're connected to the airlines and the crews and everybody. We are just the facilitators of the tourist industry. So keep in mind that the government, I believe, might not even have control over what's going on, and they're giving us the impression that they do. So that's one of the things we have to consider as people. Our government and a lot of countries like Belize, because they're so dependent on foreign money, that we kind of sell with soul to the industry. And then that is shot callers. And make I tell you something, the US protects foreign companies, its companies in foreign countries. So they direct what happens to their industries because it benefits the US when it comes to taxes. Those are some of the realities. So when people go out there as only as facilitators of this industry, people I believe need to understand that in a corporate capitalistic environment, people are expendable. So yes, I hear some people argue, we need the jobs, we need the jobs, we need the jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not because we know to think outside the box. When when Nigel made a try get land and do everything for prevent the man from get land. Liars show up. When the man try get his second one, the price of the land gone up by triple. So we don't any undermine the man because nobody wants, no politician wants to empower people. Once you empower people, now you have to work for people. They don't work for you no more.
Lose control.
So there's a lot of dynamics to this, and people might support it, but they might not physically come out. So this is when you have to start grassrooting with petitions, get people for sign petition. I know somebody asked for a petition. They might be willing for putting their name on paper, but they might not be willing for come out because
Mm-hmm.
we're in an environment where people still want a job and their job is always threatened. But I keep the tell Belizean, once election comes around, government can't borrow any more money for pay people. That's what government is doing right now. Then they borrow money for sustain the economy. So we supposed to think 6 months from today. When government stop borrow money, no tourist industry no save way. We need for come up with ways that we could empower ourselves. Right now, 6 months from today, you could have done got tomato, they grow peppers,
Exactly.
all kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Chicken could don't do it full growth, or they could have done the eggs. All of them things government could have done. All in land where they sit down that believes. I don't care when I say, oh, people own this and all that stuff there. But government job that for control resources. And if people are not using it and your population, they look for go through insecurity. You need for come up with alternatives so people could eat. And the only way people are could eat right now, the biggest thing that food security are housing security. That's the way you need for to do for your people. Tourism and their stuff they want to come back eventually. No August 15th, no one be one miracle date. And we know I get 10,000 tourists to come in come August 15th. Number one, Europe closed off to America. So no
Mm-hmm.
Europeans can fly through America. Canada closed off their borders. So no Canadians. So all what we want to get the Americans. And they not to travel that much right now because Americans they lose their jobs too. So nobody not upon this vacation. And so this is the time when we can recreate our economy. But what the government they give the impression that the only savior for Belize will be tourism. But at the end of the day, the government does not control that industry. They do not. So
You don't.
When you say Hilton, they come in and all them big, they're not corporations where could buy Belize. There are companies richer than Belize must about 100 times over. They are not multi-billion-dollar in the corporations. We don't want $2 billion economy. Their government is not in control, and that are some of the realities we have to face.
Respect. Big points to make, Aria. We have to take a final break and then we'll come back. Welcome back to the final segment of Sunday Review. I tell you, break sessions, they're so motivating. They're people that give people to discuss ideas. So, anyway, this is the final segment. This is the Sunday Review. We have Belizean diaspora representatives from the United States, Aria Lightfoot from Central Florida, and Sherilyn Godfrey Brown and Buddy Brown from New York. Either I don't know. I guess we say it per air. I don't know, but a part of what's coming out of this, which are the beautiful part about when you organize people, is that people give us suggestions, and so there's some suggestions. Abla, you the suggestions what they give me?
Yes.
Abla.
After that, yes. You know the hear me?
I'm going to sleep on the job.
I know the sleep, man. I focus. Well, then they decide the suggestion would be that you have petitions, right? So that we prolong the protest, that just be this 1 day sporadic thing, or well, not sporadic because you actually plan it, but it be something where they run for a time, and it'll be online where they ask the UB students to see the input, make we sign with petitions, and then the last one was for make you have people actually they sign online petitions and the petitions on the ground at the protest.
Thanks, Abla. Listen, you focus. Right now it's 11:43. So definitely I encourage Belizeans and Abla make this point, and other people make the point too, that as Belizeans we have individual responsibility for the safety of we life or other families. So Belizean people, please wear and I know I stretch this talking, but I put it on Facebook because St. John's Credit Union have up one sign pan and door 2 Fridays ago for cash my check and I can't go cash my check because I don't buy one mask. I just take one fabric and tie it over my nose and my mouth. The last say I could use one face mask or a face covering. That's what the last say. It's not up to any individual to say something otherwise because it's illegal. Now I could understand St. John's Credit Union not because robbery real, but then could ask somebody to remove their mask at the door or remove their shades. But the last say, you can have one face mask or one face covering over your nose or your mouth. So I said that because Belizean people, we have to start to wear a covering properly all the time. I mean, I think somebody want to cuss me directly because I get from a bus yesterday. Huh, Abla?
I think they sign offensive.
Oh, it is. So I have one sister, one biological blood sister. We find out that she allergic to elastic. So when she put for days she out of work and the air is infected because of the elastic. As long as you have one covering over your nose and your mouth. And Belizean people, when you talk, I they pan bus, now they take off the mask and lower the mask. Look, I got. I turn mask police now because I on the bus. They holla, listen. We don't want to talk on the holla loud. Cover on the mouth. So we have a responsibility, Belizeans. We the holla for the government. We have a responsibility. Cover your nose and your mouth. Make sure
They don't want COVID.
Somebody only their chin and cover.
What you say?
Somebody only their chin and cover.
Yes, they got cheap mask. And then somebody
They really, really don't understand the severity of this virus,
I got an so on the pharmacy never have I said pharmacy. The pharmacist said I have allergies, you don't want problems with me. I can't put them thing over my nose. So there's some people who have a different situation. But I just say cover on we have to wash for we hands. We have a responsibility for listen and learn. Understand what will happen. A number of people say they're not sending their children back to school. So
That's big. My school
I
gives
agree
me
with that
options.
too.
Belizean
They give
people,
me options.
we have a responsibility. And not everybody have access online. So I think because I put something online, everybody got access to it.
Right.
Aria, your final thoughts as we lock out this conversation was focused on not open the PGIA August 15, 2020. And we're not saying not open it none at all. But it say consult with Belizean people in a meaningful way. And then make we collectively come up with one be and best time for open it. And that information should be readily available to Belizeans at all times in a different languages, and that is data driven, and that you have one independent source for provide oversight that do want to sell no and do, what on say no and do it. Final thoughts, Aria.
So I think that people have to be very involved in their own health and their own governance because at the end of the day, no matter what happens, ultimately we can be affected. Our families can be affected. I hope Sherilyn share a recipe before you close the show.
Yes.
Sure will.
One of the things I have tried to do, I try to change my diet because I had to, and I try to take more vitamins, eat more fresh foods, stuff like that, because at the end of the day, you could get this virus innocently. It could just be you touch something, somebody touch, or somebody could be walking around untested, asymptomatic, and you become infected. So you're right. We have our own responsibility to protect our own and protect our families and be mindful of our communities that we live in. And we have to be more community minded And I hope the government realize that there are so many industries. It doesn't only have to be tourism. Belize our small country, 400,000. We that the size of countries, we got millions upon millions of people. We're not supposed to have food insecurity. We're not supposed to have housing insecurity. We the push through billions upon billions of dollars through the economy, through the legal economy and the illegal economy. So we don't have no reason for we have poor people. So stand up people and realize that yeah, they do something that if we do not take control today, you know, I want to take control when you not got no more control. So thanks for the invite, Yaya and Abla. Thanks very much.
You're welcome, sis. Really appreciate your input. Yes, no worry. They were never going without give it Shirley never going without give it a recipe. Listen to me. I tell you no, our Lord and Michael's remember they survive and their family members survive COVID-19. Like really, the miracle that we said about the brown right now, really the miracle. Cause if life partner, even though she made suffer from it, can't you? Tell them what the sister besides all our prayers. Tell her sister, tell her the recipe.
Girl, I had to forget I even had COVID to bring back this man alive. I'm telling you, he was on the verge out. It was that bad, you know. And I tried everything possible. I had an old soul, young person, but old soul. And I tried everything that I knew growing up, that, you know, little fever and stuff like what to do. So I took Facebook page and I asked people several questions what to do too, and a lot of help came in. And they do help. Honestly, I break the fever in 5 days. A lot of people coma lasted what 14 days with the fever. I break my husband one in 5 days, and I spoke to a lot of Belizean who had it up to 10 days, high fever, delusional, you know. So I did what I had to do. Um, the shots was very good. Turmeric, garlic, onion, lemon, and apple cider vinegar, and you blend it up and squeeze it out.
Wait, sis. Go slow. Uno go get on a pen and paper. Uno go to shop. Uno serious thing, you know, cause
I'm
if
gonna
them
share it
people
too.
not listen after August 15th, I tell you no, stack up that thing, you know, in the house. Go ahead and give her ingredients
It's
again.
not gonna help your immune. It's not gonna build your immune system. It's gonna boost it for the virus. You understand? You need
Okay.
something to fight this virus. I'm telling you, it's no joke.
Tell me the ingredients again, sis.
If the government don't want to listen, still want to open the port and thing, well, I want to say, well, all right, I want to do a package, right? A coronavirus package, so when the foreigners inquire when they sell it, you know.
That's right, entrepreneur, buddy, bro.
Yes, I always go.
We could promote that we only had 2 deaths. You understand how the government could they do? But if they had head and they just want to make foreigner run for we country, well then yeah what? I want to put my package together then.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. Tell me the recipe
Yes,
again. The
so I
ingredients,
use
Sherilyn.
garlic, ginger, turmeric, and lemon. You use half the lemon peel on the lemon and peel the other half off because of bitterness. But you want all those, you know, stuff on it. Apple cider vinegar, and I don't strain it. I prefer use a cloth. Wash out your cloth and strain it through the cloth. It's much better. But I'm telling you, this is gonna help you up, you know, boost your immune system for sure. You need anything possible because this virus is coming, and when it reach, it's no turning back. It's a survival mode, you know. And I hope Belize ready for it. I really hope that they dissect the decision what they're making and really dissect it good because, like I said, luggage. This virus stay on luggage. It's coming from Miami, Houston, where it's a hot point right now. That's a very, very serious thing for them to like disinfect the luggage before it goes on to the hotels and other hotel workers that has to go home to their family. You know,
Respect.
I mean, the whole world, I understand the reason for opening. The whole world is suffering. We're suffocating financially. I get it. But it's like financial over health. Belize cannot handle the magnitude of this virus. Cannot. And I'm very worried because I have all my family members back home and friends, and you know, it's they cannot handle it. I'm telling you, the magnitude is no joke.
Respect. Final thoughts, buddy? Besides your entrepreneur package?
Well, my thing is, like I said before, I mean, if they open it, you know,
Oh, no, this is body face, I don't see face.
Careful,
All
yeah.
right, there you
Yeah,
go.
like I said, they open it. They just have to be prepared. If they only have 10, where are we say, 10 ventilator, try to get
Yes.
at least 10 more. Which is at least I need maybe probably about 1,000. You understand? But they have to be prepared. How much beds they have? How much beds the hospital have? Forget about the bed. How much cat they have? Forget about the cat. How much blanket they have? Forget about blanket. How much sheet they have? You know, when they go take Ramada and then people are sheep, so they have to be prepared. My thing is,
You have like with this virus. I had three family members, my buddy, my daughter, and me, and both of them had fever. I didn't, and I know that's real. I don't really understand the taking of the temperature at the airport and stuff because I had no fever, and I had every other symptoms with that. You understand? So that doesn't show up when you take that temperature. I could come in very pre-symptomatic and or asymptomatic. Because there's two different kinds. Asymptomatic, where it developed the symptoms, they develop no symptoms, and you have the pre-symptomatic, where the symptoms develop before you even show sign. So they have to be aware of that. This is how we're going to travel into the country with no kind of symptoms showing for like what, a week or two, when these people are already touching and going around other people.
simple thing. Once they open up, they have to be prepared. This
You have to be prepared.
You know.
You have to be prepared. If that's a decision that they make, they have to be ready for the consequences. I'm telling
When I
you.
say have to be ready, that we the Belizean people, because I want that we want to take the
The
brunt
owner
of
will
this.
suffer. The owner will suffer. Nobody else. You think the governor of Florida and then they suffer? It's the people suffering because they listen to that stupidity, not wearing a mask and not social distancing.
And then the people never really open the airport for this.
It's the same people coming from there.
I think I know like Sefi.
I can't see a body.
My thing
There
is
you go.
now when to open the airport.
Just wait a little bit more. Wait. It's not.
Wait, make I ask you this. Make I ask you this. We had organized protest. Suppose hundreds of thousands of people come out. How we are social distance?
Wear
Well,
a mask.
beside wearing a mask, on the outside, that's a plus. On another inside, and you make us people for stand apart. If we're not living at the same household, on a stand 6 feet apart. Because if everybody living at the same household, no matter if then they're next to each other. But if you are outside the household, ask them for stand apart.
Even to
Yeah, that's
even
right.
to with making home sanitizer. I made my home sanitizer, aloe vera and alcohol, 70% above alcohol. I made my own hand sanitizer. Bring it out there. Everybody, keep on wiping your hands. I made my own home. You
Respect.
know.
Thanks so much, Sherilyn Godfrey Brown and Buddy Brown, survivors of COVID-19. Abla, final thoughts.
Yes, first thing I want to say, behind every miracle, that was divine woman, right? So respect to
You mean
Mrs.
next
Brown.
one. Next one, not behind her.
Yeah,
Next
but
door.
front end, actually front end, that just because you
Yeah,
turn
she
it
not
back,
said
right?
that.
That just because you turn it back. So it actually actually front end, right? And I want to say we have two falsehoods under which Belizeans right now with it operate. The two falsehoods, one is that how we're blessed, but people not take blessings that when you're blessed with intelligence, you're blessed with will, you're blessed to do the right thing for self. Your blessings not just means that, oh, we're blessed, so you don't have any fear of where you're the step. So blessings mean that you have what it takes to make the right move. So make we count with blessings in that manner and not just take it for granted
Mhm.
that oh, the hurricane season we blessed, man, nothing not come. You're still prepared
Mhm.
because the blessings
Not
that
reminded.
you're
Not
blessed
reminded.
awareness. And the second falsehood that we need foreign exchange, right? And when you check out what we need the foreign exchange for, the stuff where we comfy want incorporate in our life so that we could feel like we dey live a certain, because I know say what we need that economic exchange to get besides maybe medical supplies and different things like that, really agricultural supplies. So if we just channel it to that, do we not have enough? Because we don't need I know they try bring down anybody business, but what's on, because we don't need all of the craft stuff. Most of the stuff where we bring in a poison anyway. And some way we tell ourselves that we need that stuff. We need that thing. So that the first, then that the two falsehoods where we have to unlearn and raise with consciousness over, right? So that's it right there. And the mask thing, make we wear a mask, make we practice really breathing techniques, because sometimes there's the anxiety come in, but all of this stuff that just with mind. So nothing wrong for what you put yourself to the side, you take off the mask, you take a nice deep breath, you calm down yourself, your mask, and that space available anywhere and everywhere. So if you're in a small place, even if you're not an open space, you just step to the side, calm down yourself, you pull your mask to the side, and you take so make us stop have this excuse that we can't breathe. And a lot of people they say, oh, they have allergies. You know, with me and my siblings, my sister, they with are medical people, and this mask wearing thing is nothing new to us. My sister have to do surgery. She have to do the 6 7 hours, and the mask can't come off. She don't have a choice for the in her operation. So make we stop to tell ourselves there are things, and the more we tell ourselves there are things, that the way we start to believe, ourselves start to respond. So some people, as they put on a mask, they have this reaction, and now we to do this. Just make we calm ourselves, right? Make we love ourselves enough to take care of ourselves.
Not for
Nice.
COVID.
When it comes to the foreign exchange, then do need some foreign exchange to pay international debt, to pay for fuel. But your point is taken that a lot of that foreign exchange that for imports. And what we import, they're nothing more healthy. So I agree we need to go back to the earth. Abla, you to plant anything?
Yes, man.
Plant any vegetables?
I got my, right now, if you look out there, I got my oregano, I got my aloe, I got my moringa, I got my cilantro.
All right, farmer. Plant anything, Aria?
Yes, I have same thing. Aloe, I have tomato, peppers, avocado, lime, and so other stuff. So yes.
Correct. The ginger, they
Brown,
come
you
up.
want to plant anything?
Well, I have food, so if I plant, I want to plant some weed.
No, I don't plant, but I have an international shop. I have an international shop that has everything available in there. Scajanil, aloe vera, you name it, I find it in New York. So I'm blessed with that, thank God.
I know the plant. I know plant.
Fever grass too.
Respect. Yes, that fever grass.
And one more, one more. We have to change. We have to change the idea of food, because even like the scotch people, you put that in our salad. That nice, you know.
It's good.
We have to change the idea as to what is food. We have to. Listen. You got mango, you got avocado right now. You mix that up. You eat that. That it good.
She just show herself in a cap on Facebook. A guy mango avocado salad. I just show herself up. But that's the right place.
When they come back to,
Yes.
When Buddy come back to, the first thing he asked for the aloe vera, cut up in a sunny dice with black pepper and salt. I'm like, what?
Correct.
And that's what he wanted to eat. I didn't even know he
Aloe
could eat it.
vera.
Aloe vera.
Cuban
Them stuff that the best thing.
And that's what he asked me for when he came out, you know? What you said, Aria?
Cuban doctor also told me many years ago in Belize, she said Belizean should have put that same scajanil into shakes and stuff, because we have ulcers and stuff. It actually help you with the inside thing.
Correct.
We have everything we need, right, just so.
Correct.
Now it's natural remedies, you understand? There's no side
You
effects.
just plant opposite of what your neighbor plant. I don't know. Share.
Right. Good idea.
All right. So we have to change your mindset, and then we have to put it in actions.
Correct.
Yeah, I know the grown up. I just wanted to know that right now. As we speak, I never grown inside. I own that. I like that people. I like it. You have more hard head company.
You know.
I want to brag about it. I have to say that the truth. That's all I say. Thanks so much, Aria Lightfoot from Central Florida. Thank you, Sherilyn, Godfrey Brown, and Buddy Brown from New York. Thank you, Abla and Jada in Krem TV studio, our scientist JCR Zoo in Krem Radio studio, Sister Sandra who calling, everybody else for calling at 5:30 this evening. This show on repeat on Krem TV. And then I'll upload this Skype link to Krem Sunday Review Facebook page. But please come out to the protest on Wednesday, July 15th. 2020 from 11 to 1. If you don't come from the same family, you cluster together, everybody else stays 6 feet apart. You have to bring on a mask at all times, not just at the protest. on a face mask or face covering to cover on a nose and mouth at all times. On a drink a lot of water, please. People stay hydrated. So important because it's really hot right now. That
The fine without mask at $800.
of 800.
It
Yeah.
dropped.
One of my friend get charged $800 for not to wear.
Wow.
I'm thinking that 5,000. We know it drop.
The curfew, I think not the curfew. That not the curfew.
Oh.
That my 5,000.
And I could get it clear. Not everybody may get charged for that wear a mask because we know who never get charged, right? But
Yes,
no worry about
ma'am.
it. If we still have an ongoing protest against the compul, you know, I say May 14th, and the number of date, the May 14th, that the day one time,
The
Jews will
infraction
contact
take
the time and I
place.
never arrest her for never have a mask. So yeah, that's an ongoing protest for on Facebook for who never know. So yeah, thanks, Unos, thanks so much, so much, so much for all of guidance. And we're open to the suggestions that were offered. We have, and the other two organizers are Makeda Marin and Nzinga Foreman, the youth organizers. On a make on a protest, on a make on a posters and a protest posters, make it be creative, use Bristol board, use piece of sheet, use pillowcase, use cardboard box, and come out Wednesday, 11 to 1. Until next Sunday, thanks again, guests and co-hosts. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
All people who love them country bad, bad, love them homeland, will never give it up to another nation.